Learning fewer scales actually makes you a better jazz guitarist, but most players don't realize and stay stuck spending months or even years learning jazz the wrong way. So in this video, I'm going to show you which traditional advice to ignore, the Barry Harris technique that you need to play great jazz lines, and the practice routine that actually works. The goal is to play lines like this. So let me show you how to get there. The reason so many guitarists get stuck is that they overload on exercises that seem useful, but they only learn them superficially. And this incredibly bad habit has almost become a tradition in jazz education. Overwhelm beginners with lists of things that they need to practice in all variations. If you ask online about learning jazz, you're very likely to get a list like this. All scales, in all keys and all positions, major, harmonic and melodic minor,
whole tone, diminished and all their modes,
all arpeggios in all positions, all drop 2 and drop 3 voicings for all chords in all inversions, all counter progressions using all counter voicings, major, minor, all counter positions,
and so on. It's exhausting just to read it, and even if you spend years practicing all of this, it is no guarantee that you can play even just 2 notes together that sound like jazz. There is no music in that list at all. Now compare it to learning a language. Imagine if your first lesson in French, your teacher gave you a similar list that you had to learn before speaking any French. So you're sitting in that classroom staring at the list, knowing that you won't speak a single word of French today or the next few months for that matter. And that is the problem with the first list. There is no music in any of that. It's just technique. And that's not how we learn languages, and it's also not how you learn jazz. But of course, you do need some scales to play jazz, just not all of them in all keys, in all positions at the same time. Now, I'm sure you remember how you learned the box 1 pentatonic scale. And then you were taught to use that to play solos over a song. You were not told to learn all 5 pentatonic scale positions before soloing. And if you check out famous solos, they're actually also mostly using that box 1, so they were probably also not taught to learn all positions in all keys. Now you can take a similar approach to jazz. Whatever song you want to play, find one position on the neck and find all the scales that you need in that position. For a simple jazz blues in C, this is what you need. So that's for C7, then we have a scale for F7 as well. And the next chord we have where we need a scale is A7. And then of course D minor 7 and G7. They're essentially the same scale, but we have first D minor and G7. With this minimal set of scales in one position, you can check out diatonic triads and arpeggios, which are useful and will form sort of a foundation for starting to improvise, and they don't require years of work. Now from here, you start building your vocabulary like you would in a language lesson. Simple, basic, but useful phrases. Stuff like this. You can let me know in the comments if you think that is the jazz version of Which Way to the Library. That is how you gradually build a vocabulary of jazz phrases and a foundation for your own solos. Just practicing scales is not going to get you there. If you want more videos on how to actually play jazz solos and chords, not just exercises, subscribe to the channel. I make new videos on this every week. So let me show you what actually does work. And it starts with something that you already know how to do. If you're learning a language, you're taught phrases like, where's the library? And then you're taught variations of that phrase. So, where's the supermarket? Where's the local jazz club? Same phrase, different context. You already know how to use it before you even thought about it. And this is what actually makes your solo sound like jazz. Let's take an even simpler lick for that C blues. Now I'm sure you can see the C7 arpeggio inside this lick. And then you just need that enclosure around the third in there. And of course, sliding into the first note. The point here is, it is not just notes, it's a real phrase, a short piece of music, and it teaches you more than what notes to play. The first way that you can create variations of this that help you solo over the jazz blues is to move it through the chord progression. Now, you need a version of this for each chord, and the simplest way to do that would be this. You already have the phrase for C7. Now for F7, I'm really just playing the same phrase in that scale. So I'm starting on the 7th, sliding into that, and then down the arpeggio with that enclosure. And that's how I built the phrase. The same for A7. And then we have D minor 7 and G7. The first time you do this, you probably want to take some time to just move the phrases around and figure out how that works. But like this, you are learning that phrase and figuring out how to use it over other chords, which is very useful because it gives you something to play everywhere on that C blues. But you can also make a variation similar to the language example from earlier by changing the ending. So the basic version is still, and then you can add a few notes like this, or maybe add this nice arpeggio trick. And this is how you build more phrases from one original lick, and it helps you improve your phrasing and ability to hear melodies that actually sound like jazz. It's not just notes, it's a real lick, a short piece of music, and that teaches you far more than what notes to play. Now, if you want to work through these examples without memorizing them off the video so that you can start building your jazz vocabulary straight away, grab the free PDF. There's a link in the description. But where do you get the licks from? Let's talk about that next. For this to work, you want to have some sources of good licks that you can learn and use to expand your vocabulary. There are 3 main sources, but it does matter which ones you use the most. Listening to jazz. Just listening to a lot of jazz music without actively trying to learn every solo will teach you much more than you think. This is so underrated. Learning solos by ear, now finding easy solos that you can learn and play to really get the feel and the phrasing in your own playing is very effective. The main thing to get right here is to not pick solos that are too long or too difficult. Written out solos and licks. Now these are easy to absorb, but you don't learn phrasing and feel with your eyes. So rely less on this. From the solos that you learn, whether it's by ear or from paper, you can take out phrases that you like and explore how to make your own licks from that. Now make sure to spend time composing lines, figuring out how to turn scales, arpeggios, enclosures, and all of that into real jazz lines. Remember that Barry Harris spent his masterclasses composing and teaching solos to his students. That was the method. So it will also be incredibly useful for you. Now, composing lets you work out your lines slowly, making sure that they actually make sense and sound right. If you're just improvising over a track or with a metronome in time, it doesn't really allow you to do that. So this is the best way to build a solid foundation for your solos. And that is exactly the kind of work we do in my Jazz Guitar Roadmap course to help students learn to play real solos. You get a few exercises and a step-by-step method for turning them into solos that sound like jazz on an actual standard. Until now, more than 7,500 students have used it to get a strong start. Now, if you want to join them, there's a link in the description. If you want to play better solos, you of course also need to spend time soloing, but there are a few things to get right with this. Think about your jazz solo like a novel. What makes a novel good is the story, not just how the sentences were written. So if you want your solo to be great, it needs to have a story. Good lines alone are not enough. Listen to pretty much any famous jazz artist and you will hear connection between the phrases. It's not just a great lick on A minor 7 and then an equally good lick on D minor 6. There are motifs and chord response between phrases all over the place. So when you solo over a song, try to think of ways to connect the phrases, repeat things, and make the listener curious about what comes next. Now for the blues, you can do this in a very simple way like this, where I'm just moving a 1-bar motif across the beginning of the form. This is maybe an overly clear example, but if you want to hear great examples of simple but incredibly strong melodies, then check out Wes Montgomery's solos. Now for this to work, you also want to focus on learning actual songs. They are easier to tell a story on because they have a form, which kind of gives them a built-in story. And if you only practice loops of 4 bars, you'll never really learn how to do that. Remember that all the examples from this video are in the free PDF, so you've got everything you need to start leveling up your solos right away. Link is in the description. So to sum up, the reason most guitarists get stuck is that they overload on technique without ever making music. And the fix is to treat jazz like a language. Build your vocabulary from real phrases, learn solos by ear, spend time composing your own lines, and when you solo, think about telling a story, not just playing good licks. Let me know what you think in the comments. Wes Montgomery is one of the best to learn from when it comes to melodic solos with a real story. If you want to see exactly how to learn from his soloing and play solos where the listener wonders what comes next, then check out this video where I cover some of his phrases and how to learn from them. Check it out, learn jazz, make music.